Hi guys, welcome to M&D Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. If you're here for the very first time, do not hesitate to subscribe to this channel because on a regular basis, I post updates in relation to monitoring and evaluation. So what are we going to be talking about today? Why is monitoring and evaluation important? I know you've heard this question 1,000 times before, but I want to use this opportunity to add some depth to this presentation because I want you to know why this thing actually exists. It's not just some routine activity that we do, there's something that it adds that even in our personal lives can help improve us as a whole. So let's get started. But before I go any further, I just want to let you know that this August, this coming August, there's going to be a big training. And guys, I'm really excited about this because it's going to be the first ever training where I'm going to have a lot of people at one go getting the knowledge and skills that can help them become masters in M&D. So if you want to book your place in this training, the link is in the description below. So simply click the link below. You'll be straight away led to the registration form where you can book your place in this training. But this training is not free, but it has an affordable price tag to it, which you won't find anywhere else. Only $50 per participant. So please, guys, don't go away. This is an important training, and I assure you, you're going to get the maximum benefit after having this 4 week training. All right, so monitoring and evaluation, what is it? We've defined this 1,000 times, but just to add some ice to it, some flavor to it. You see, M&E is continuous. It's important. It helps in continuous improvement and learning. That's why we do this monitoring and evaluation, and that is what it actually is. So there is need to have this M&D in every organization. I don't believe this is just a project thing. It must be embedded. M&D must be embedded in every organization that is running throughout the world. It should be embedded even in our own lives because there are goals and targets we want to achieve. There are certain things in life we are aiming to do, and it is through gauging ourselves, it is through looking at ourselves in the mirror and seeing whether we are achieving those goals. Can we make the needed adjustments to ensure that we get to where we are going? So, why is it important? The first reason is accountability. You know, this thing of accountability is a word we use every day at our workplaces, but sometimes we fail ourselves. Because really, if we were really using the word the way it's defined, you'd find that a lot of projects would succeed. So, the accountability I'm talking about here is holding ourselves responsible for the outcomes of the project. The challenge that is there is that sometimes we tend to always want to blame it on financial resources. All the time, we're always blaming it on the financial resources. We're always blaming it on something. But really, if you sit down, you might discover that you and me may have had a role to play in the project's failure. And this is what it means. We need to really sit down and ask ourselves whether we were using the resources the right way. So when we say resource utilization, I'm talking about not just the finances, but I'm talking about time as well. Were we using our time wisely when it came to execution of these activities? The accountability is important also because it helps in justifying expenditure to donors and partners. That's what That's why it's so important. So if we are holding ourselves accountable, we are going to ensure that we achieve our results, and then we have something to showcase to the donors, who in turn will have something to showcase to the taxpayers who are paying a lot of money to make these funds available to the projects around the world. Another thing we need to remember as to why M&D is so important is the learning that comes with it. It's the improvement. So one thing I need to mention this. The first thing is the learning. You see, when the evaluation is done and the consultant produces the evaluation report, he gives it to you. He says, "Can you read this report?" And you go on to read. What you're doing there is learning, because he is giving you the both the successes and the failures that you went through. And he's also giving the reason why you failed. Now, look at it this way. If you get that report, you read, and at the end of the day, the next implementation phase, you don't do anything, you don't correct some of the recommendations that were given by the consultant. Would you say that you've made improvements? The answer is no. You have not made any improvements at all, because that report did not help you. You probably learned, but you did not improve. So the issue is that you must not just be learning, but you must also be improving. So with that report that comes to your desk, make sure that you act upon the recommendations. If you are not happy with the recommendations, that is why there is the commenting phase. You have the opportunity to comment on the findings of the report. I like this third reason, guys, because I've had some experience where I've just seen certain people not doing things through evidence-based decision making. Now, why is evidence-based decision making important? Why do you think it's important, dear friends and family? Well, evidence based decision making is important because ultimately you want to make decisions that is based on the data. So now think of it this way. If you're just going to be making decisions and those decisions are not backed by evidence, what would that do to your project? It will lead to poor performance. And this is what is happening in some cases. You find that people are making decisions because of decision making. They just want to make a decision, but they're not looking at the data. They're not looking at the evidence, because the evidence is what tells you where you should go. And I must encourage everyone to do this, whether you're at management level, whether you're at the officer level. Please use this to improve performance and efficiency. Effectiveness. This word effectiveness is interesting because if the- if you asked yourself this question, is our project effective? The answer you have probably is yes. But the other thing you need to understand is, what first of all, what does effectiveness even mean? So effectiveness really means, are you making a difference? You have the targets, but are those targets being achieved? If they're being achieved, then you're effective. But if you're not achieving your targets, then I mean you're not effective enough. So the M&D will identify the strengths and weaknesses of interventions, and it will help allow for timely adjustment to optimize impact. It will also maximize the effectiveness of programs and projects. Okay, so now why is it important? Because you get to involve stakeholders, and when you involve them, it promotes ownership and participation. So we must not do these things in isolation. You must not implement M&D in isolation. You must actually encourage collaboration. You must encourage partnerships. You must actually strengthen these partnerships by showing that what you're doing is actually making an impact. So if donors are giving you money, give them the M&D system. Show them that their money is being made into good use, and that's what strengthens relationships. And that's why an M&D system is important all the time. The M&D system will demonstrate impact, and this cannot be overly emphasized. So the impact we're talking about is the results at the highest level. That's what it does. It helps demonstrate the impact according to what the project had set at the start. So I want to thank you so much for listening in to this presentation. If you have any questions, please write to me. And remember that there is this training that's going to be happening in August. And I really want you to be part of this training because it's going to capacitate you. It's going to help you become a master in M&D. Until we meet again, see you on the other side. Bye.